Financial minimalism is all the rage in YouTube nowadays. And generally speaking, it might be the way to go for most everybody if you want to clear your life of all the clutter that is leading you to not be as productive as you want to be. In this video, we're going to talk about my take on the minimalist lifestyle, how I keep my costs really low, how it allows me to invest more into myself and my interests and my businesses, and how you can do the same. What's up, you guys? If you're unaware, you're watching Finance Squared. If you're watching for the first time, I'm your host, Derek West. If not, welcome back. Let's dive right into the subject of minimalism and the minimalist lifestyle, shall we? Like I was mentioning, minimalism is all the rage nowadays. I would consider minimalists on YouTube to include folks like Janelle Elena, Graham Stephan, the tech lead. I'm not sure if he even mentioned that this is his name, but I'll link to him in the description. And there's very good reason for this. A lot of people really dig the idea of just using what they need and keeping the clutter and waste to a bare minimum. Thus the term minimalism. I think all people can agree, whether you're more of an earth first type of person who doesn't take too kindly to consumerism and the clutter and waste that it causes, or more of an entrepreneurial type who is always looking to keep the bottom line fit and trim, allowing for more space to invest and growing yourself personally. Minimalism is an appealing philosophy. So what is meant by minimalism? I'm not sure if there is a precise definition in Merriam-Webster or anything like that, at least not describing what I'm talking about here. But when I say minimalism, what I mean is just acquiring the absolute bare minimum for your needs, foregoing flashy, ostentatious, and expensive items, really only using what you need when you need it. And in addition to that, being creative with what you have and the resources that are available to you to make the most out of every dollar or Bitcoin. Basically, living like you're broke, or maybe you actually are broke, and being happy with it. You know, the type of people who only spend money when they like and subscribe to Finance Squared on YouTube. I'm kidding, of course. Everyone knows that liking and subscribing to Finance Squared on YouTube is 100% free, while at the same time delivering 100% value, giving you, the viewer, all the upside, and maintaining the minimalist lifestyle seal of approval. In reality, think of some of the minimalists that you know of in history. People like Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Paul the Apostle. Like I was saying earlier, today you can find tons of minimalists on YouTube, and it's actually a growing and interesting little niche. Each one is outdoing the other for who uses the least amount of toothpaste per year. Now, this isn't a new concept. I think it's catching a wave of popularity as people from all walks of life come to agree on how useful being a minimalist can be. Now, I was originally introduced to the concept by one of my relatives, who, for the sake of anonymity, shall remain nameless. At one point, this relative was living out of a truck, even though he, or she, had the money and resources to live in a regular apartment. At first, I was sort of alarmed by the situation. I mean, think about it for a second. If you see someone who has the money to at least live in a relatively comfortable lifestyle in an apartment somewhere, but instead sets out for months on end living in a truck, you start to think to yourself, does this person have all the lights going on upstairs? You know, but as I thought about it more, I eventually began to see all the advantages of leaving aside most of the pleasures of this world, hunkering down with just the basics, and roughing it, so to speak, with just what you need. For example, the first and most obvious benefit of being a minimalist is the amount of money you save by not buying a ton of shit all the time. Pardon my French. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. It's not the one or two large purchases that lead to financial ruin. It's the thousands of little charges and purchases that creep up on you when you least expect them that lead to tough financial situations. Things like purchasing premium charcoal toothpaste instead of going with that off-brand, regular charcoal toothpaste. Quick sidebar for a second here. Charcoal toothpaste has really taken off in the last couple of years. I am a little bit disappointed in myself for not getting in front of this trend. Society is clearly on the edge of collapse because there are people that brush their teeth with charcoal in the hopes of making their teeth whiter. What is the world coming to? Anyway, it's the daily Starbucks coffee. Another quick sidebar. A lot of folks rag on Starbucks. Graham Stephan, here's looking at you, kid. And that's kind of not fair. Starbucks is one of many things that people just buy without even thinking about it. That's a video for a whole other day, so like and subscribe. But these bad spending habits can include things like just buying candy in a vending machine every day at work, or picking up dinner on the way home, eating out for lunch every day, or purchasing extra coins in that free-to-play video game that you enjoy when you're on the can. Let me know if you know anybody like that. But like I mentioned in the beginning, people have different reasons and styles for being minimalist. Mine is to save money so I can funnel all of that saved money into various investment vehicles. You know, stocks, index funds, ETFs, real estate, true growth vehicles, websites, apps, things of that nature. So if you think about it, I am a financial minimalist. Essentially, at this point in my life, I am investing most everything from what I earn from various sources that I'm not spending on staying alive into one of those avenues. So as an example, let me give you a little bit of a breakdown on my monthly spending, approximately. So I spend about $1,200 a month on an apartment in and around the Dallas, Texas area. I could go cheaper, and in fact, I might one day. I can't decide, however, if I should purchase a duplex or a fourplex next. Fourplex next. Say that 5 times fast. Live in one unit and rent out or Airbnb the other sides of them for profit. Partly because I think there's a slight lack of multi-unit housing in and around the Dallas area, at least where I live. And in all honesty, I haven't been searching that intently, only casually, but that is my assessment thus far. If I find one with good value, I'll snatch it up, but so far nothing is showing up on my radar. I'll reassess the situation at the beginning of the second quarter 2021 and move on from there. So be on the lookout for a video on that topic about fourplexes, duplexes, triplexes in the Dallas, Texas area. But for now, that is my housing expense. I have a little bit of a way of making my eating and food expenses very cheap. Essentially, I buy my food in bulk from places like Costco or even places like Target, where you can get some pretty decent deals. I prep my meal the week before. So basically Sunday. I prep my food the Sunday before my week, and I basically eat that food out through the entire week. Either that or I get some eggs and some vegetables and some broccoli, and I mix them all together and I have a delicious meal, but still purchase at a relatively cheap price. Again, most of the food that I buy is purchased in bulk, and I prepare it the day or the Sunday or the Saturday before the week. But knowing that I have a busy lifestyle and I meet with entrepreneurs and other folks weekly, I also have a fund, $20 to $80 for business lunches or dinners of some kind. And that stated, when I do go out to these business lunches or dinners, I tend to get the cheapest options on the menu, and I leave the rest as a tip. Now, if I violate that variable cost, I have to take it out of my normal food budget. So essentially, that is a variable flex budget for expenses dealing with expanding my business. Now, I also take supplements to help me replenish my body after workouts. For example, I take protein laced with branched chain amino acids, so I don't have to purchase those extra. Now, I buy that protein in bulk. I also take creatine and a dirt cheap pre-workout, also purchased in bulk. So my total outlay for the month in supplements is about $50. And the amount I spend on food and supplements comes to about $420 plus or minus $40 to $60. So far, I'm up to about $1,600 a month on food and rent. Now, again, these are approximate numbers, so the math might be a tad bit off. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm sure you will. That stated, though, I have internet. Now, obviously, if I didn't have internet, how can I get these great videos to you from Finance Squared? That costs me about $9 a month. I have utilities as well that vary month to month, but cost me anywhere from $100 to $200 per month on average. So worst case, so far I only spend about $2,000 per month for my total cost. I do have a car. That car has been paid for in full, in cash. So it doesn't cost me much to keep it up and running, except for gas and insurance, which will run me in about the $200 per month range. So all in all, the grand total for all my expenses is about $2,200 to $2,400 per month in expenses. Now, by the way, as a reference point, someone makes about $9.50 an hour, which is slightly higher than the national minimum wage here in the US, would have an income of about $1,520 per month. So with a little bit of overtime on that minimum wage salary, they could afford my lifestyle. And finally, it's not uncommon for my monthly expenses to be much less than that. In fact, I average about $1,800 a month in recurring expenses, with a floor as low as $1,380 per month. So where does the rest of my money go? Well, one thing you're going to realize as you make more and more money in your career, your largest expense is going to be your taxes. No matter what the philosophy of your government, they're going to get their share of the cash, and taxes will likely be your largest expense. Now, if you get up into true baller level, if you're able to pay cash for companies, stock, etc. that exceed more than $1 million in value, you're in rarefied air indeed, and congratulations are in order first of all. But more than likely, one of your next biggest costs is going to be housing and taxes, and those will be your largest expenses of your lifetime. And word to the wise, learning to minimize both of those expenses is key to acquiring real wealth. But aside from taxes, where else does my cash go? My cash goes into my investments. Now, I do have a slightly nuanced view of investing that I think would serve us well to discuss in this video on minimalism. I break up my investments into multiple camps that I find influence wealth creation in 3 distinct verticals. Investing in myself, investing in true growth, investing with investment instruments. All those things can be considered investing your time, investing your talent, or investing your treasure. Investing in myself is really about me taking the time to find ways to become a better person, which could include anything from just learning new things, from online resources such as Udemy, Lynda, Skillshare. The list goes on and on. But it also could include purchasing a new suit or clothes that'll help me stand out for a potential client or customer. One investment that is monthly and it recurs often is going to the gym to make sure that I stay as yoked as possible as I get up there in, years. Trust me, As you hit 30 plus, going to the gym is going to be more and more important because you can't stay as cut and as buff as you used to be when you were like 25. I know that as a fact. But this category of investment could also include things like attending conferences to network with other folks. Now it has to be online thanks to all of our COVID restrictions, but nevertheless, attending conferences is key. There is some opportunity for maybe one-on-one coaching with mentors and other folks. I tend to stay away from that mostly, as I feel a lot of those folks that say that they're online coaches or folks of that nature, I feel that they are scamming a lot of people. Not all of them, but I will say most of them. Next up is investing in true growth. Now, investing in true growth is looking for actual opportunities to make return on your money. Investing in true growth is cultivating the talents that you already have. For example, let's say you are somebody who is interested in running an online store of some kind. Well, you could take extra time to look around and find particular items online or in garage sales and add them to your own personal store. Like, for example, when Gary Vee talks about going out to garage sales and finding opportunities to flip various items like baseball cards or things of that nature. It may also include, for example, practicing coding skills that you haven't used in a while. Or maybe you are a video editor and you need to make sure you keep those skills up as well so that you have your tool set finely tuned so that you can continue to make more money. Investing in your talent could also include investing in things like Facebook ads or Google ads or TikTok ads, things like that to help folks get to know you better and to show the world that you have particular skills. And one of the reasons why I consider this true growth is that it requires extensive research and understanding on your part and my part before you can truly and confidently pull the trigger. Now, with this in mind, this could include things like purchasing of single stocks and not things like index funds, ETFs, and REITs. It's a little bit of a gray area, but the third type of investment that I place the rest of my money in is investing in treasure. Now, investing in treasure or investment instruments is kind of like what it sounds like. I almost treat this like a savings account to a certain degree. I feel that investing is more important than savings because investments can grow at exponential rates while savings will typically grow at a constant rate, if at all. Now, I know, all investments have an inherent amount of risk to them and they're most likely not going to grow at continuous rates year after year. That being said though, so the stock market has grown at about an 11% rate for every year since the 1940s. So if that trend is to continue, it may or it may not, again, there's risks to everything, then that is a perfect way to grow your wealth year over year. Particularly if you invest in things like index funds, ETFs, and REITs, which follow those indexes, whether they grow or whether they fall. And when they grow, you grow. When they fall, you fall. When they grow, your investments grow. When those indexes retreat, your investments retreat and your net worth retreats. It's very interesting, but it tends to go up. Just keep in mind, investing is always sort of a touchy subject here on YouTube. And I'm not a financial consultant of any kind. You should consult with your financial investment professional before investing in anything or making any sort of investment decisions. That said though, the growth history of index funds is nothing to sneeze at. And the same thing with REITs. Keep in mind, I'm aware of the criticisms from folks like Michael Burry, who believe that the next big financial instrument to blow up will be, let's say, index funds and ETFs. But that essentially describes the saving and investment habits of a financial minimalist. Let me know in the description down below what minimalist habits you have to help you save and invest for future growth. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more great videos just like this. In the meantime, check out some of the links in the description or some of the other videos that you see on the screen right now. And stay well out there and keep away from that COVID. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.